Happy Saturday, everybody. Creator Mom. So, I wanted to talk about this movie that I watched last night, which I'm thinking I probably watched before but forgot. And it's called What You Wish For. It's like, it's a thriller. I almost think it could be almost like a horror comedy, but, kind of something in between there. Um, and by the end of the movie, I thought, oh, it's half of the phrase, be careful what you wish for. You don't get that at the beginning, or at least I didn't, because it's called What You Wish For. And like I said, by the end, you're like, be careful what you wish for. And it clicks. Um, so this guy who's not doing that financially well goes and visits his friend in, where was it? I don't even remember where it was. I think it was somewhere in South America. It was a very beautiful place, beautiful house. And apparently, like, the friend was telling him, yeah, the job that I have, I travel, they set me up in these beautiful locations, and I cook for basically very wealthy people who want a special meal. Special cooking, and he gets paid a shit ton. And the friend, can only see the good part of that. The friend kind of tries to tell him, like, yeah, it's not that great, but the guy tries to inquire. He's like, well, what's the problem? Is your management shitty? Like, what is the negative part of this job? Because right now, all I see is you stay in beautiful places, you cook, excuse me, you cook beautiful meals for people, and you get paid for it. And like, so what's bad about that, So, let me sip my coffee. Good. So then, so he keeps noticing that his friend, like the guy who has this wonderful job or whatever, is like, kind of sad, and, he's just thinking about life and how people are suffering and thinking how it's so shitty living in this world, and the guy can't understand it really, because he's like, what is he talking about? Like, he has this really great job, and so where is he even coming from? So next day, the guy wakes up and sees that his friend, who's this rich chef, has hung himself, right? So he's like, that's stupid, This is kind of where this movie almost becomes horror comedy-ish. So instead of like trying to report to any authorities, they were somewhere in South America. It was definitely a Spanish-speaking country. Instead of trying to report to the authorities that, like, his friend has hung himself and died, he sits down and he thinks for a while, I guess, about what he's gonna do. And he decides, I'm gonna take him down, get rid of his body, in a body of water or whatever, and I'm gonna steal his identity. That's what he does. He steals his identity and takes his job, basically. And I guess the managers at this job haven't seen him yet. Maybe he gets transferred from place to place, and he deals with different people every place he goes that are a whole part of this big global corporation. So, the people who come, so he takes his identity, right? Then the people who are, excuse me, let me rewind a little bit. So the guy is supposed to get there to the beautiful location ahead of time to prepare or to scout the produce, they call it. And so when the people come, then his managers come, or whoever, like the higher ups come. And so they come and they're like, oh, have you scouted the produce? Have you, gotten everything like ready for us to like cook and stuff like that? And he's like, no, like, not yet. And they're like, what the fuck, Then he starts to realize what this job is about. So he goes with this other guy. He's all right, let's go out and scout the produce, And they're following these two ladies. He's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, and he's like, well, we're, he finds out, like, yeah, we're scouting the produce. We make delicacy like human meals, basically. That's what he finds out his job is. And see, yeah, be careful what you wish for, but at the same time, the friend didn't disclose to him what exactly he does. But of course, and we can't blame him necessarily for being attracted to his friend and like where the beautiful places he was going and the tons of money that he's making. He wanted that, but he didn't take careful precautions to try to get that type of job for himself. He cheated his way into it, and by hiding his friend's body, throwing it off somewhere. Yeah, he didn't kill his friend, of course. He didn't do that much, but he did. He was acting deceptively. So it's just like, well, what what do you think you get when you act deceptively? You know what I mean? It's just like, yikes. You acted deceptively. You thought you were getting into something great. You didn't realize your friend hung himself because this was his job. He couldn't take it anymore. And this corporation, there's no way out of it, except through death. So that's why the friend killed himself. Because they'll kill you. You can't leave. And they track you. They put this like tracker inside of you. So you can't leave. Guinea pigs want more food, I think. My big one starts chasing the other one when they want more food. It's weird, peculiar behavior. Anyways, yeah, he acted deceptively, didn't take time to really figure out what his friend does. Because his friend just told him he cooks. So he just assumed you're cooking regular food, not killing humans, and eating them. So he had to act like he was still this person's identity when he found out, like, oh shit, like, this is what we're doing. So he kind of kept his cool and kept acting like he was Jack, the friend, and they get this one guy, this one kill. But first they were following these two women, and then they didn't realize, but these women went off to the cops and was like, these guys are following us. By the time the women come back with the cops, these guys had already shot another dude, and he was under their car because he tricked them and said, can you check something under our car? Anyways, yeah, long story short. The long story short is, how did the movie end again? I think, yeah, the movie ends by him trying, the chef, trying to get away. This detective had come over to the house and was asking him questions, and he tried to tell the detective, like, hey, this is what's going on here, but that didn't work out. They ended up killing the detective, and I think the way the movie ends kind of is trying to tell us that he stayed. He really has no choice except to stay or to run and risk his life or whatever. I don't think it's so much be careful what you wish for, because I think that could make people walk in fear, like, oh, I wish to be healthy. I wish to, have an idea that makes me wealthy, and I wish to live a good life. Like, those are good things to wish for, but I think it's more about, sure, you can desire those things, but almost like be careful how you go about them. You know what I mean? Because what the friend wanted, I think he was already in some trouble. He owed some people some money. So he already had like character issues or whatever, and just kind of, and I guess since that was who he already was, he kind of walked in that state and continued to act even more deceptively to try to get money to pay whoever he owed money back, because they were threatening his mother's life. So it was all like a lot of like, he was wrapped up in something. So, it's not about what you wish for. It's about how you choose to go about what you wish for, and he chose to go about things deceptively for fear, fear of his life, or they were threatening to kill his mom, whatever. But how did he get into that, you know? So, anyways, kind of interesting movie. But, again, I don't really like the saying, be careful what you wish for. But I do like it in the fact of be careful what you wish for, and like looking at other people's lives and thinking like their life is better than yours. Be careful with that. Be careful with comparison, because you don't know. Maybe he wanted to wish that, oh, I wish I was him. That's where I could say be careful what you wish for. Be careful wishing that you were somebody else, because you are you. And if you really find out what it's like to be that somebody else that you're putting on a pedestal, you might not like that, because you're you. You're on your own path. You're on your own journey. So never wish to be somebody else, because you might regret that. That's not a good wish. I always say comparison is a thief of joy. It's so true. We have to stay focused inside of ourselves, guys, and inside of our own energy, and value and put worth on ourselves, and stop looking at other people. Stop looking at other people. All right. Have a great Saturday.